Hello, so good to see you today. Welcome to the webinar on strengthening diversity, equity, and inclusion in small and medium enterprise management. I'm Austrian Silanskaita from the University of Vasa, project leader of the project Diversity, Equity, Inclusion for SMEs, so small and medium enterprises, or DEI for SMEs. This is how these letters decode. And also program manager and ambassador for internationalization at the University of Vasa. Tiffany.
Yes, hi everybody. So I'm Tiffany. I'm a project coordinator for the same project that Aswin just mentioned, so DEI for SME.
Wonderful. And today we're going to talk about this topic and why it is important.
Yes, we will discuss about diversity, and especially we will try to discuss why it's important and why it is important to manage it correctly, and how we can go around with the topic of diversity, equity, and inclusion in small and medium enterprises.
All right, so let's start from what happened just recently. So recently, we received a new regulatory environment in the European Union, and more specifically, Corporate Sustainability Reporting Directive was issued and is affecting many companies in the EU, including Finland, Germany, Lithuania, Austria, and all the other countries who belong to the EU. The directive is primarily meant for the large firms, so they are obliged to report certain elements, quite a few elements actually, of sustainability, but also listed small and medium enterprises are affected and are required to follow this regulation. Smaller SMEs, or small and medium enterprises, we use SMEs for the simplicity, are expected to do voluntary actions based on this directive. However, given that many SMEs are in the supply or value chain of the larger companies, it is very likely that larger companies who work with SMEs will very soon ask the entrepreneurs to report quite a few elements that the larger companies need to report in their sustainability reporting documents. And therefore, it's important for every entrepreneur today to learn about the changed environment, changed regulatory requirements, and why it is, and how to address them effectively, so that it's not just becoming a red tape, not just bureaucratic burden, but how to actually use these regulations effectively to enhance own business. So basically what happened and where the diversity, equity, inclusion stands in this regulation is primarily in these highlighted elements of the directive S1 through S4. So own workforce, workers in the value chain, affected communities and consumers and end users. And today we will mostly talk about own workforce and a little bit workers in the value chain. And own workforce is quite important element for every entrepreneur, regardless of the size. And therefore we'll look at how it relates to this directive, why this directive came into force, and how to use this directive effectively for the business growth and business benefit. So first of all, these social elements relate to social sustainability, right? So social sustainability consists of three parts. One part is about safety and security at work. Then we talk about fair labor practices, health and safety at work, and all the related elements. Then about learning and growth, upskilling, reskilling, skill development, job requirements, employment, skill development, and so on and so forth. And the third element of social sustainability is concerned with community development. And this is where diversity, equity, and inclusion, these strange words, come into play. We'll define them in a moment. But basically, diversity, equity, and inclusion is a part of social sustainability, and that's why it was included in the new regulation that has just taken place in the EU. Now, the regulation's rationale is not only related to sort of talking about social sustainability in general, but also has links to the bigger global picture and primarily United Nations Sustainability Development Goals. right? So there are quite a few, actually more than a half, sustainable development goals that concern social sustainability. And while we don't necessarily see all of them or address all of them in business, but for example, SDG 8 concerning decent work and economic growth, or SDG 10 concerning reduced inequalities, SDG 12 concerning responsible production and consumption, actually directly affect every firm and is becoming a part of the strategic thinking of every company who wishes to be sustainable. Now, why social sustainability, right? And how it relates to other elements of sustainability, why this report and this directive includes different parts of sustainability. It has been made very clear that we cannot talk about sustainability in a vacuum, right? So if we talk about sustainable actions, they have to happen together when we're talking about all three spheres of sustainability, which is environmental, which is social, and which is economic. So business has to always think of money and profit sustainability, of sustainability of economic activity, which is absolutely necessity for every business. But then, of course, if we want to live in a environment which is pleasant to all of us, we need to think about environmental actions, climate change, and many other issues that are currently at a very bad stage globally. And this cannot happen without talking about social aspects, because a lot of environmental activities are a result of social and economic activities that humans perform. And therefore, in order to address sustainability questions in environment and profit, we need to talk about the social element quite strongly. And as you saw, many elements then feed into other aspects of sustainability. So, you know, you cannot take the climate action if people are in poverty. They will not think of changing their behavior. They will first think of thinking of their daily needs. And the same employees, even if we launch a fantastic environmentally friendly business, great strategies to develop environmental products, and so on and so forth, if our employees are not feeling good, if we are ourselves not feeling good, if we are mistreated, if there are poor working conditions, and so on and so forth, this will definitely not help to engage with the strategy, with the new product development, no matter how environmentally friendly and sustainable it is. So let's decode this. Let's decode these interesting letters, DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion, and see how we can make it work for profit, for environment, and for social aspects of sustainability. So diversity concerns differences, right? And there are many differences that social beings, the human beings, can be different from. In Finland or in some other countries, we may reflect on diversity from different perspectives. Sometimes we say that, for example, in Finland, we don't have much of diversity, whereas in Germany, we have quite a lot of diversity. This is not really true, because in every country, we have different kind of diversities. We always will have different gender identities. We always will have diversity of age. We'll have diversity of language. So, for example, even in a homogeneous country like Finland, we have 2 official languages, right? We always have race and ethnicity in place, and so on and so forth. So there are quite a lot of differences among people, visible and invisible, that we have to think through when we are talking about how to approach things at work. And these differences lead to the ways we think, the ways we behave, the ways we accept or not accept the strategies, and so on and so forth, right? And therefore, managing these differences is extremely important. So addressing these differences, basically, we can do that in terms of managing equity and inclusion. Inclusion stands for appreciating that we are all diverse, and appreciating and helping us live and strive through our diversity at work. And equity means supporting everyone at work at the level they need to be supported. So if I need more resources or less resources, if I need more guidance or less guidance, I should be provided as an employee in the firm. Now, dealing with people as per their needs and as per their views helps them to really align firms' goals, firm strategy, managers, entrepreneurs' vision with what these people are doing in the company. gets them motivated, and therefore work environment becomes way more inclusive, and also firm then feels the benefits like less turnover. So people don't leave that often because they feel good at work. They feel that they're engaged and they can manage the connection between their own goals and the company goals or entrepreneur goals. There are also more effective leadership, because finally we can connect better with the people. We can, transfer our ideas better and engage them. Creativity in that case thrives, right? Because we get more ideas, more innovation, and so on and so forth. And so to illustrate this theoretical sort of map, Tufane will share a couple of examples that we got to hear, for example, when talking with the Finnish businesses. So just a practical few examples of, what does it really mean when we manage diversity and when we include it in our business?
Yes,
Okay.
thank you, Osrin. Yeah, so this is a quick infographic that we have made with real Finnish companies' reflection on the benefits they have gained from managing diversity, equity, and inclusion. So for instance, the Finnish companies have highlighted that employing a foreigner, it helped them bringing understanding of the foreign markets, or it allowed them to expand possibilities for their company. But not only that, if we look at other diversity dimensions, hiring someone with disabilities help them create a better atmosphere, so people reflect on their own understanding and their own complaints better. If we think another diversity dimensions, again, females in the workplace, females in the management brings more innovations or ideas. So there is a lot of different reflections that can be made on the management of diversities, and this is not only theoretical, as you can see here. This is really practical. There are real facts to back up the theory. So age differences, elderly people can bring their experience, their understanding. They bring perspectives to actions that are carried. So these are all just few examples that we can share today with you from Finnish companies. If you have any examples from other companies, please do share, so we can maybe complete or fill in this infographic with even more aspects of examples about managing diversity, equity, and inclusion.
Exactly. Thank you, Tufane. And as you see, so it's not just about legally complying with the directives that are out there, but also, even if the link doesn't seem to be right away straightforward, how does this, diverse language or diverse background or diverse age would result in business benefits, but actually linking the workforce and their capacity and their differences with the strategic thinking and goals of the firm can lead to fantastic results, because then we can combine resources and sort of work together to the common goal. All right. But why is it not everywhere? Why are we relying on just few examples that are out there of companies actively using diversity management to benefit their business? And this is actually also why we're having this webinar. This is why we're having this reflections, because it's difficult. Diversity management is difficult. And if we think specifically from the context of small and medium enterprises, it's even more difficult, because we know that in these kind of a smaller companies, we don't often have human resource management function as such, or human resource management. Many times we are lacking of sort of managerial capacity, processes, structures, and so on and so forth. So a lot depends on the skill set that we have, and the skill set doesn't always allow us to understand how to manage, how to benefit from diversity. And diversity, there are lots of things unknown. When we are starting to engage with something new, we don't necessarily how to do that, and that may result in problems, that may result in conflicts, that again, we may not necessarily have certain skill set how to solve them, and so on and so forth. And therefore, sort of as a stimuli, there has been this regulation that is out there to start finally thinking about how to do that. But at the same time, we know that, okay, regulation is one thing, but there's really an intention to think through, and how can we manage this, not just from the perspective of legal compliance, but also how can we, make sure that SMEs have these skills and really benefit and reach these benefits available.
Yes, and that is why we exist as a project. So our project goal is to develop a tool for diversity management in small and medium enterprises. So to do that, to create an effective tool that company can use, we need perspectives. We need perspective from small and medium enterprises. We need perspective from bigger companies. We need input, which is why we have this survey. So you can see the QR code right there. If you cannot access this, you have the link in the corner. So if you want to answer and share your perspective, share your needs, your challenges, your experiences, for example, if you have gone through this, please share with us what has changed, what have you benefited, what were the issues, your reflections, anything that you have, we need, because we need such input to create a tool that is useful. So the tool will be an open access digital tool for planning, implementing, monitoring the corporate social responsibility that is in line with the goals of the CSRD, sorry, of course. There will also be educational material on DEI management and how to use the tool. So this will come to everybody. This will be really the goal of the project, to have it in open access. And then, of course, there is understanding the key challenges that SME face, and this you can share with us once again in the survey via the QR code. So this is really co-creation. We need you, you need us. We really need to create a tool for the DEI management together, because we need to understand the needs and the challenges so that we can answer them and really come up with the most effective tool possible. And once again, it will be open access. There will be lots of resources, how to use the tool, how we came up with this tool, and the answers of the survey will be anonymous completely. So please just be honest and share with us anything that's that you have. It's really important for the advancement of DEI management.
Indeed, and it means that even if you don't do anything about that, that's totally fine, right? All we need to know is where you are at and what you would like to know. And of course, as Tiff said, if you have something that's also very interesting, so we can cross-share the knowledge and co-create. Yes, so we're looking forward to receive your perspectives. And if you also would like to engage in other activities, so we'll have hackathon where your company can offer the, for example, a challenge for the students to solve. There'll be possibility to test the tool, so that we can enhance it before and develop it further. Your company can become a teaching case, so we can write about you, not only advertising, but also learning from your experiences and sort of. So if any of these activities are of your interest, feel free to reach out and participate in this co-creation, as Tiff mentioned.
Yes. And just one more thing, if there is anything else that you think would be interesting for the project, but is not mentioned there, we have an email address that you can have at the end. So it will be in the last slide.
Yes, wonderful. But for the start, we want to leave you with a very quick idea of where you can start. If you haven't done anything, that's also something to carry away from this webinar. So if we think again of the context of small and medium enterprise, probably diversity management and starting to benefit from this will start at the individual and team level. So each entrepreneur individually can start reflecting on, how can I benefit from different perspectives? How can I benefit from working and hiring different people in my team? How these differences can help me reach my plans, my goals, grow the company, and so on and so forth. And am I biased? Am I having any judgments when thinking about these diverse people? Maybe I have not explored these possibilities yet, right? So this is sort of a very easy start that every entrepreneur can do. And once we have some diversity in place, and probably we all have that, team or group level management is another very, very quick and easy step before we develop some official programs and sort of strategies for diversity management. So discussing when we feel that our different perspectives clash, trying to understand them better, trying to solve the conflict in a respectful way and growth-oriented way can be very constructive. So not avoiding the conflict, but actually lifting up the diverse perspectives and trying to grow through them is very, very efficient in team interactions. And then, of course, inviting for different perspectives to be discussed. So if we think of very quick checklist of where we can do, and we will not go through all of it, but basically what could be considered for a start in every small and medium enterprise is, first start with considering different employees than you have before, different partners, because, that already brings you to open up the perspectives for getting these diverse perspectives in your business and on your strategies and plans. Mixing up the languages, even if you don't change officially the company language, but mixing up the languages in the coffee room, getting in somebody and trying to use 2 languages or 3 languages at work. That's very educational for everyone, and that helps you not only to internationalize, but also sort of start understanding how these different communication frameworks work and reflect on your own communication frameworks. Of course, supporting freedom of expression in the company is highly important, so that the employees could feel that they can come and feel good at work as they are, right? Of course, within the professional limits. And, looking at simple things like ensuring that there are no pay gaps, or ensuring that everyone can get access to training or some sort of resources, or just a basic thing. So as mentioned, it's not an exclusive list, but it's a very good start. And just a few slides ahead, when we discussed about the differences, this is a very useful webinar as well, where you can get back and see some examples of Finnish companies engaging with diversity, equity, and inclusion. And of course, there are some useful training resources if you want to explore more. They're free and open access. And then there are also some recently published paid resources where they talk about some company cases, reflect on managing diversity at work and otherwise, and sort of providing training for diversity and so on and so forth. So thank you so much. That was very short and brief. And as Stephane mentioned, here is our contact email. Feel free to contact us with your suggestions, ideas. Also, here is a QR code again, where you could scan it and fill your perspectives on how it goes and what you would like to know, what you have tried, what you have not tried, how you feel, how you don't feel about the diversity, equity, inclusion in your company, so that we could create a really useful tool for you to implement the new regulation that is in the EU, but also not to make it regulation work for your own company benefits. So thank you so much. And we stop here, and any welcome comments or questions are most welcome.